Hi kids, Mrs. Desjardins and I am back for our curriculum read aloud. Now we heard this one before. This is called The Happiest Tree, a yoga story. Now before we read it, we have these curriculum cards to follow. So let's turn to second read aloud and see what we have to do. So we are going to read The Happiest Tree, a yoga story again today. You may remember that it is about a girl named Mina who is learning yoga and preparing to be a tree in the school play. When you get older, you might just have school plays. And if you really want to, you could probably be in one. But anyway, so who remembers why Mina is nervous about being in the play? Think back and remember. What happens to Mina just before the play starts? And how does Mina solve her problem? Now remember, there were a couple words that we did learn. We'll just review those. So the word improved, which of course means to make better. If you improve something, you're making it better. Rehearsal. Well, if you have to be on stage to perform something, you have to practice it first, right? You don't want to go up there and barely know anything, so you have to practice and practice and practice. That's a rehearsal. Sets, well, when you go see a play on stage, the things in the background, those are the sets. And no matter what, you'd always see something in the background. And it's really cool what these set designers do. I've seen a couple of plays and all the different sets. They're completely different. It's a lot of fun to go see one. Now remember, Mina is in the country of India. Now India is a country across the other side of the world in a continent called Asia. And snagged. Remember what snagged means? Well, just say if you're walking along and something is sticking out and you catch your clothes on it, that's snagged. Anyway, let's read the story again, and we'll stop if we have to talk about some things. So let's read. Mina was excited about the play her class was writing. Remember what it was? Remember? It was a new and improved version of Red Riding Hood. She laughed out loud when they decided that Grandma would chase the wolf. That's not the way it really went in the story. So she liked figuring out how the story would end for the woodcutter. And she loved painting the sets until she spilled the paint. It's okay, said Mina's teacher, Mrs. Jackson, but Mina felt terrible. See, there's Mina. Let's turn so you can see. When the class chose parts, Mina pretended she wasn't interested. You remember why? Remember, she thinks she's clumsy, so she doesn't want to be on stage. She's afraid she's going to make herself look silly if she falls in front of everybody. Now, this is what her teacher says. Mina, everyone gets to play a part, said Mrs. Jackson. Mina shook her head. All she could say was, I can't. I'm too clumsy. Mrs. Jackson would not take no for an answer. Of course you can, she said. You can be a tree. We need lots of trees in the forest. So Mina's teacher does insist. Well, remember, her teacher's name is Mrs. Jackson. She insists on having Mina play a part in the play. Why do you think she wants everyone to be included? I want you to think about that. Maybe it's because she doesn't want any of the kids to feel left out. Now soon it was time for the first rehearsal. Walking onto the stage, Mina hoped she wouldn't stumble. She hoped she wouldn't trip. But then she stumbled. She tripped. She almost fell. Mina, groaned the other trees. Mina wished she could fall right through the stage and become a disappearing tree. See, there are all the kids, and they're leaning, they're pretending they're trees swaying in the wind, and look at Mina. Here's a big page. There's Mina with her mom and dad sitting down at dinner. At dinner that night, Mina drooped. "I'm the worst tree in the world," she said. "Why?" asked Mom. "What happened?" Mina told her parents about the rehearsal and how she had tripped and stumbled. "It's all right, Mina, Ronnie," said Mom. "It's just that your arms and legs are growing really fast. That can make you feel clumsy sometimes. You don't have to be perfect," Dad added. "Just try your best." "I'm perfectly clumsy," Mina said sadly. Remember, she went to the market with her mom. That's the Indian market. The next day, Mina and her mother went to the Indian grocery store to buy rice and flour and spices. There was so much to see. Mina whirled around looking. "Careful," cautioned Mom. "I'm being careful," said Mina. She leaned forward to look at a little brass bell. A bag of rice toppled over. "It's all right," says Mrs. Vora, the owner of the store. "Let her look." She gave Mina a piece of mati to munch on. Remember what that is? The spicy flavors of the crumbly snack danced in Mina's mouth. "Thank you, Auntie," said Mina. Mrs. Vora was everyone's auntie. Now, do you remember what happened next while they were at the market? Suddenly, Mina saw something that made her fall gup-choop silent in astonishment. Remember what astonishment means? It means surprise. Through a window in the back of the store and the room beyond, she saw feet. See? There's her feet. They rose up into the air. They stayed very still. Then, slowly, they went back down. "That's one of our yoga classes," said Auntie. "Would you like to join in my children's class?" "I'm too clumsy," said Mina. "Clumsy shumsy," said Auntie. "Just try it and see. Nah?" Mina watched the window. Now, hands rose up in the air. Mina raised her own arms. She joined her palms over her head. "Oh my," Auntie said, "you're doing better already." So Mina agreed to sign up for the yoga class. Here's the yoga class. That's what yoga is. It's a lot of stretching and breathing on these mats. Those are called yoga mats. Yoga class was not easy, but Mina tried her best. She breathed slowly and deeply. She stretched like a rubber band. "Let's do the cat pose," said Auntie. "Breathe in, arch up, breathe out, down, breathe in." Mina breathed in and out and arched her back up and down, but then she lost her balance. Her foot shot out and she nearly hit the yoga cat behind her. "Now the frog pose," said Auntie. "Down on your knees. Sit back on your feet. Knees wide open. Bend your body forward." Mina bent her body low, but when she tried to put her hands on the floor to rest on her lily pad, she fell over. Mina stretched and breathed her way through the yoga class. Auntie told her what she did correctly and helped her with the difficult parts. Soon Mina could breathe deeply and made herself still. Her feet didn't shoot out so much. She didn't topple over as often. "Very nice, Mina," said Auntie. Mina felt golden warm inside. Now remember, this is the first rehearsal. Mina stumbles and trips. Why do you think the other children playing the trees groan, "Mina"? Why do you think they did that? Let's read. During rehearsals for Red Riding Hood, Mina tried to be still and quiet, but her feet had trouble staying rooted. She kept looking around. She laughed at all the funny parts. She wanted to say the lines when her classmates forgot them. Mina, stay still, said one of the other trees. Only your branches are supposed to move, said another. Shh, said a third. Mina tried her best, but it was hard keeping her arms and legs from moving around. In yoga class, though, Mina's arms and legs learned to work in smooth, slow movements. She stretched out flat on her stomach and kept her feet together. Then she propped herself up on her arms and raised her head, turning left then right in the cobra pose. One day, Auntie announced, we're going to try the tree pose. Oh no, cried Mina, I'm a terrible tree. Auntie looked puzzled, so Mina explained about the class play. I understand, Auntie said, but a yoga tree is different. Just take a deep breath. Hold it for 2 seconds. Ek, do, and let it go. Mina began to relax. She rooted her feet and raised her arms. She breathed and breathed. She calmed down. Her worries went away. After a few weeks, Mina found it easy to breathe slowly and deeply in yoga class. One day when all the children were sitting in the lotus pose, a thought lit up in Mina's mind. I can change my body by how I feel inside, she realized. If I am quiet inside, my body will be still. That's what yoga is really about. Mina hugged her thought to herself. It filled her with gladness. She imagined herself standing tall and still, growing roots in Red Riding Hood's forest. Let's back up a second. I'm going to ask you guys something. So Mrs. Vora, who owned the Indian grocery store, is called Auntie by everyone. Why do you think that is? What do you think she means when she says clumsy shumsy to Mina? Those are some things to think about. On the night of the performance of the new and improved version of Red Riding Hood, Mom and Dad drove Mina to school. Mina and her classmates put on their costumes. Mina's sweatshirt and tights were stretchy and soft, but her tree branches tickled and her roots scratched. Don't worry, Mina, Ronnie said, Mom, you'll be fine. We know you'll be a great tree, said Dad. On stage, everyone, Mrs. Jackson announced. It's time to start the play. That was when it happened. As Mina walked onto the stage, one of her branches snagged Red Riding Hood's cloak. Then Mina's right foot stepped on the roots of her left foot. She tripped. She almost fell down. Mina, whispered the other trees. Mina, leave your broken roots behind, said Mrs. Jackson. Just do the best you can. Mina kicked her way out of the pile of roots. She looked around for a place to hide. How could she be a tree without her roots? Through the curtains, Mina saw the audience gathering. She found Mom and Dad. She spotted someone else, too. Auntie had come to see Mina be a tree. Mina knew she couldn't hide, so she started her yoga breathing. In, out, in, out. She got so quiet she could feel her heart beating. Then she stood up straight in her best tall tree way, raised her arms high, and took her place on stage. Never mind those silly old roots, Mina thought. She would grow her own yoga tree roots right into the floor of the forest. The curtains opened and the play went on. Grandma chased away the wolf. The woodcutter became a recycled paper salesman. And Red Riding Hood wrote a play about her scary day in the forest. Through it all, Mina took deep breaths and let them out. She was still when she needed to be still. She moved slowly and carefully when she needed to move. Best of all, she knew that she could do this again anytime she wanted to. Mina was the happiest tree in the whole forest. There she is. Now, here's a little bit about yoga. So yoga, or Hatha yoga, has been practiced in India for many centuries. That's a long, long time. Today, it is popular all over the world. Yoga is a way of learning to become aware of your body and your mind and how they work together. People who practice yoga learn to breathe deeply. They begin to recognize the way their bodies move and to control and balance their movements. At the same time, they learn to focus on the present moment and calm their minds. Here are the yoga poses that Mina learned in the story. There's the tree pose. That's the cat pose. That's the lotus pose. Goodness, that's the frog pose. No wonder she fell over. That looks hard. So, oh, and that's the cobra pose. Okay, guys, now that we're finished with the book, there's a couple more things we need to talk about. So at the dinner table, Mina says she's the worst tree in the world. How do you think that makes her family feel? What do her parents do to help her feel better? Now, I noticed that some of the children look upset during the performance when one of Mina's branches snags on Red Riding Hood's cloak. I wonder what the other children in the play are thinking. And then Mina's parents and teacher tell her just do her best. And I wonder how that can help Mina do better in the play. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this story, hearing it for the second time. And at least we had some different things to talk about this time. So I'll be back for another story time soon. Bye, guys.